Trekking in the eastern part of our country, especially the northeastern part of the country, very frankly, there are very few treks that side. I can count them on my fingertips. So there, when you get a trek like Sandakphu, you must absolutely lap it up. And I want to tell you why. See, most people will talk about the beautiful, the mountain view, especially the 4 of the 5 highest summits of the world, and that everybody makes it as the biggest attraction, especially the Sleeping Buddha. And I'll have to give it, that Sleeping Buddha is like, it's one of those things which stay etched in your memory, the way it is laid out and the way you see it from the ridge on the Sandakphu trek. But frankly speaking, for me, that's not the attraction. For me, there are other things which you need to look out for this trek, and I want to talk to you about that. One, the culture part of this trek is not something to be missed out. This entire trek is an Indo-Nepal trek. You weave in and weave out of India and Nepal all the time. In fact, there are some moments of the trek you don't know whether you're in India or you're in Nepal. In fact, your campsites, many of them are like this, that one half of it is in Nepal, the other half of it is in India. But where you see the culture is not on the trail, but you see it on the tea houses especially. All the tea houses are very different. Each one is different from the other. And you'll see this cultural fusion, especially at the tea houses, in the decorations, in the food, in the way they serve you, in the way the people talk, in the way they come across. It's something worth watching. You're watching a world culture on this trek. And you must not miss out on that. This culture is a lot more emphasized on these pretty villages that you see on this trek. Look out for Samandar. It is a trekker's favorite and my favorite as well. Surrounded by this beautiful forest, and in the middle of it, this village, it almost looks as if it is not in a country. And then from there you get this thick forest under which you are trekking, this tall coniferous trees. You go to Mole, you go to Phalut after that, and from there on starts the views. These views of the Sleeping Buddha and this, the entire mountain ranges from there. The Singalila ridge is basically what you're touching over there. And it stays with you for 2 or 3 days until you get to Aal. But, again, something which people don't talk much about, but I need to emphasize that, is the sunrises and sunsets that you see. Most treks don't have spectacular sunrises and sunsets, but here you not only have it, you have it over 3 days, right, all along whenever you're on the ridge. And what sunrises and sunsets? You have these clouds billowing it from below. You're like standing on top of this sea of clouds. And the sun rises or the sets on these clouds. It's almost like you can actually row a boat over these clouds. You feel like you're floating on this ocean of clouds. I have not seen this on any trek. It's one of those most mesmerizing moments. So these kind of views that are there on the trek, the sunrises, the sunset, the mountain views, the forest, the villages, the culture, it's a complete trek on its own. Over time, I really liked this trek, but then I was disturbed over one aspect of this trek which we didn't like. And that was the Motorable Route which kept coming in between our trail. When we used to do this trek from Jaubhari and climbing up to Sandakphu. And this Motorable Route was very disturbing because motor cars would come in with tourists filled in them. And that's why we changed this whole route, and now we start from Srikhola, and now I'm very happy with this trek. Because this trek now has got the best of Sandakphu. It has these beautiful villages, the dense forest, that astounding views which is known for, and the culture minus the Motorable Route. But to make the best out of this trek, I want you to prepare a little bit for the trek. This trek, a lot of people fancy it to be an easy trek. It is not. It's a moderate trek. It requires preparation. It does climb to 12,500 feet, and it does climb quickly. You need good legs for this. So do prepare for this trek, and don't underestimate the trek thinking it's because it's a rich trek. I'm going to see this beautiful 4 of the world's highest summits on this trek. So, it's going to be a cakewalk. No, it isn't. It's a good trek. It requires a little bit of preparation, but it is one of those treasures in the eastern part of our country, which is again so rare, you must make the most out of it.